In Venezuela, President Nicolás Maduro announced the activation of the fifth transformation set to consolidate a model of direct democracy. The Argentinian government announced its withdrawal from the World Health Organization and affirmed that it will not allow interventions by foreign organizations in the country's internal affairs. Russia and Ukraine carried out an exchange of 150 prisoners each following a negotiation brokered by the United Arab Emirates. Hello and welcome to From the South. I'm Alejandra Garcia from teleSUR Studios in Caracas, Venezuela. We begin with the news. Stay with us. In Venezuela, President Nicolás Maduro announced the activation of the fifth transformation set to consolidate a model of direct democracy. The president announced a profound process of repoliticization in the country in the framework of Venezuela's seven transformations plan for the homeland. In this context, the fifth transformation seeks to hand all political power to the people. President Maduro highlighted the need to change set structures to protect the people and move forward in the achievement of development goals at a national and regional levels.
We have to overturn the remains of the bourgeois state, bureaucratic, deaf, blind, mute, as my friend Shakira's song goes. The bourgeois state, deaf, blind and mute, that does not see the people, that does not listen to the people, that does not feel the people, that old bourgeois state. This year 2025 we have to overturn it like a sock and turn it into a direct, popular, democratic state.
The Venezuelan president informed that the first popular consultation of the year had already more than 97% of its projects approved.
We had the first national consultation of the projects for the communal circuits, of the projects that were debated, prepared and presented by the people in the full and non-transferable exercise of their sovereignty. And so far 97.99% of the projects have been assigned. We have assigned already almost 100% of the projects.
The extraordinary plenary session of the 5th Congress of the Socialist Party of Venezuela continued its second day on Wednesday in Caracas. During the session, the member of the party's National Directorate, Francisco Ameliak, highlighted the importance of the seven transformations proposed by President Nicolás Maduro, which he deemed fundamental for the new phase of socialism. On the other hand, another PSUV member and Vice President of Planning, Ricardo Menéndez, affirmed that the leading role of the Bolivarian Revolution must be exercised from the streets. Likewise, the party's first vice president, Diosdado Cabello, recalled that all those present at the political event are duly qualified to be elected as governors and mayors, but pointed out some essential conditions needed to apply for such political posts.
Profile and characteristics to be eligible as a candidate for the PSUV. It has long been established that he or she must possess, among other conditions, the following characteristics: to be a Venezuelan citizen, to be a revolutionary and a patriot, to be an anti-imperialist, a Chavista, a defender of the legacy of the Supreme Commander Hugo Chavez in every space, to be a factor of unity with recognized ethics and morals, and to be a member of PSUV or the JPSUV.
Cabello also reminded that every citizen could run for public offices provided he or she does not promote hatred, intolerance, and treason to the homeland.
For the offices of governor and mayor, they need to be 25 years of age or older. For the offices of deputy, legislator, or councillor, over 21 years of age, they couldn't have been sentenced for any criminal offense or disqualified by the office of the Comptroller General of the Republic. They should keep a record of impeccable conduct and have not incurred in the promotion of hatred, intolerance, discrimination, treason, as well as adopted fascist or neo-fascist positions or similar expressions or any other conduct that affects the interests of the nation or publicly act in contempt of the Constitution of the Bolivarian Republic.
As the election campaign in Ecuador draws to a close, Luisa González, the candidate for the Citizen Revolution, endorses her recommendations for the nation's institutional and social recovery. González had campaign closings in Quevedo, Vinces, Ventanas, and W.H.O, among other towns in the province of Los Rios. Amid the events, the presidential candidate said that if she wins the elections, the first actions she will take include creating security offices with the judicial authorities, restoring the country's institutional and reducing the VAT to 13% by decree. The candidate has gotten a lot of support on her tours and has declared that Revive Ecuador will be her government's motto. The Argentine government ordered the withdrawal of the country from the World Health Organization and affirmed that it will not allow interventions by foreign organizations that threaten its sovereignty. President Javier Milei ordered the withdrawal this Wednesday and affirmed that he had already given instructions to Foreign Minister Gerardo Wertheim to define the definitive exit from the World Health Organization. Milei said that the decision comes as a result of the differences with the organization regarding health management. The president emphasized that this decision will not affect the country because they do not receive resources from the World Health Organization, and that it will also allow health policies to be implemented according to the interests of Argentinians. And now we have a short break coming up, but we'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back to From the South. The Mexican government is confident that an understanding can be reached with the United States regarding a definitive halt to the tariff issues. After the temporary suspension of the application of the 25% tariffs measures, Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum indicated that she hopes to convince her U.S. counterpart to definitively suspend these measures and maintain their trade agreement. Sheinbaum also highlighted the strength of the negotiations with Washington and insisted on the importance of promoting not only the country, but also North America as a whole. In this context, the Prime Minister of Canada also temporarily suspended the measures he had imposed in response to Trump's increase in tariffs.
Now they are paused. There is no reason to speculate about what will happen in a month's time. We are confident that we are going to reach a good agreement with the United States government and that the issue of tariffs will now, as I told President Trump, be permanently suspended.
Also, during her morning speech, the Mexican president highlighted the strengthening of the oil industry initiated by former head of state Andrés Manuel López Obrador and assured that there will be no problems with the United States regarding oil.
President López Obrador proposed a strategy when he entered that all the oil produced for internal consumption should be refined in Mexico. That is why the integral improvement of all refineries and the new Olmeca refinery in Paraíso, Tabasco. The Olmeca refinery is finished. Today it has a small problem, as I said yesterday, of the crude oil that has desalination problems, but it is finished, and when it is operating at its maximum capacity, practically no oil will be exported, everything will be for internal consumption, so this gives us a lot of strength as a country, and in reality the tariffs do not have to do with the price of oil.
The president of Colombia, Gustavo Petro, admitted that the great majority of the commitments acquired by his administration have not been fulfilled. During the live transmission of the Council of Ministers on Tuesday, the head of state expressed his frustration with the lack of execution of his government's programs, qualifying as fatal the report of non-compliances that unveiled 146 out of 195 commitments were not achieved. The president insisted on the need to transform the government apparatus in order to advance in the changes established in his agenda. Petro stressed that many of his proposals faced bureaucratic obstacles and lack of will from his own ministers. After the presentation of the internal study of non-fulfillment of commitments, President Gustavo Petro wrote in his X account, "Yesterday, a study of the number of commitments made to the people and the high percentage of non-fulfillment in a differential manner in the ministries was presented to the Council of Ministers. I decided to expose it to the people in order to obtain the Cabinet's response on this non-compliance. It was preferred to evade the response and launch the cannibalistic and self-destructive attack that is a historical tradition not only of the left but also of Colombia. The government will be adjusted according to the level of execution of each ministry. I want in the remaining time and after great progress in some matters and little progress in others, a united and transparent government facing the people and with the people. I do not want a government with double agendas, but neither do I want a government of a single color because the people are multicolored. It is the people who are in charge, no one else." In this context, and after Petro's statements on the non-compliance of his government, the Minister of Interior, Juan Fernando Cristo, urged all the heads of the portfolios of Petro's government to resign so that the head of state can reorganize his administration. Cristo affirmed that the Colombian president is not satisfied with the results of his cabinet. Meanwhile, he highlighted his disagreement on the publication of the management report and assured that Petro must have limits. In addition, the Minister of Culture, Arts and Knowledge of Colombia, Juan Correa, presented his resignation by means of a letter expressing the following: "I publicly reiterate my gratitude for the recognition and invitation to work for the first progressive government of Colombia. It has been a tremendously enriching work for me. The cultural sector is left with a 5-year cultural plan, a reform to general cultural law that I hope can be implemented in the Congress and an institutional strengthening underway, as well as the plans you entrusted us with, artistic and cultural training in public schools in Colombia and the San Juan de Dios and Galeón San Jose projects." For his part, former Foreign Minister Álvaro Leiva Durán said, "It is up to me today to state the following. I have not communicated with the President for months. It is impossible to have any dialogue with him. I have kept rigorous silence, watching from a distance the slow sinking of his government project. I try to guide him by means of the mechanisms within my reach. A state of decomposition is in the air. I am not inventing anything. Perhaps the homeland has to overcome this calamity. I repeat the question I asked before. Will it be the foretaste of something more profound for which we Colombians must prepare our lives?" We have a second short break coming up, but before we invite you to visit our YouTube channel at teleSUR English, there you'll be able to rewatch our interviews, top stories, special broadcastings, and more. Hit the subscribe button and activate the notification bell to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. Final short break. Don't go away. Welcome back to From the South. Israeli forces continue their operations against Palestinian territory, this time with arrests and raids in Tamun and Al-Fada camps in the West Bank. For the third consecutive day, Israeli soldiers carry out illegal raids and also besiege Palestinian settlers in the south of the occupied city of Tubas. The Palestinian Prisoner Society denounced that the Zionist troops kidnapped 14 Palestinian civilians. In addition, they denounced the incursion of the army of Tel Aviv in that territory, which causes food shortages while destroying the infrastructure, affecting the supply of basic services such as electricity and drinking water in several areas of the city. The Palestinian government condemned the interference threats of the United States regarding the appropriation of the Gaza Strip after the displacement of its citizens. President Mahmoud Abbas assured that they will not allow the violation of the rights of the Palestinian people who have struggled for decades to achieve the freedom of an independent state. Abbas also reaffirmed that the calls of the Trump administration seriously violate international law and urged the United Nations to take urgent measures to protect citizens. On the other hand, the Palestinian president welcomed Saudi Arabia's position of defending an independent Palestinian state with Jerusalem as its capital. The government of China condemns the statements of the President of the United States, Donald Trump, to take control of the Gaza Strip. The spokesman of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of China, Lin Jian, manifested his opposition to the forced displacement of the Gaza people. This in view of the declarations of the U.S. administration that the Palestinians should settle in the nations of Jordan and Egypt, labeling the Gaza Strip as uninhabitable. Beijing urges consideration of a ceasefire and post-conflict management in the enclave in order to establish a political solution in both states. Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva also rejected Trump's proposal to take over the Gaza Strip, arguing that it is the Palestinians who should take care of their territory.
The ones who should take care of Gaza are the Palestinians. They need to receive reparations for everything that was destroyed so they can rebuild their homes, hospitals, and schools and live with dignity.
The United Nations Special Rapporteur of Human Rights in Palestine, Francesca Albanese, rejected President Donald Trump's proposal to take over the Gaza Strip and resettle its people.
President Trump, where to start? The short answer to your question is what he proposes is utter nonsense.
Is what?
Utter nonsense. Is nonsense. And it's unlawful. What he proposes, people talk of ethnic cleansing. No, it's worse. It's worse. It's forced displacement. He's inciting to commit forced displacement, which is an international crime. Forced displacement and further dispossession, and in the context of a genocide, it will strengthen the complicity in the crimes that Israel has been committing over the past 15 months and before.
The governments of Russia and Ukraine carried out on Wednesday an exchange of 150 prisoners each following a negotiation brokered by the United Arab Emirates. According to Moscow's Ministry of Defense, the Russian soldiers are in Belarus, where they are receiving psychological and medical treatment. The troops were offered the possibility to contact their families and will be transferred later on to Russia for further treatment and rehabilitation. More than 45 prisoner exchanges have taken place between Russia and Ukraine since 2022, during which each side recovered about 3,000 prisoners. China and Pakistan strengthened bilateral strategic cooperation ties with the signing of new agreements in Beijing. At the Great People's Palace in the Chinese capital, the leaders of the two countries signed agreements in areas such as the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, trade, technology and media. The Chinese head of state Xi Jinping expressed his desire for Islamabad to benefit from the reforms and high-level opening up being carried out by Beijing. For his part, Pakistani President Asif Ali Sardari expressed his country's interest in learning from the experience of the People's Republic, especially in terms of modernization and industrialization, while thanking China for its support for Pakistan's economic and social development. And like this, we have come to the end of this news brief. But remember, you can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net and join us on social media. We are on Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok as well. For TeleSUR English, I'm Alejandra Garcia. Thank you for watching.